We are so on our game. All right, everybody, you're listening to Geek Vice, the official podcast of Falling Asleep at the Office. And speaking of falling asleep at the office, here's your host, Morph.
The man that's falling asleep at the wheel. Welcome, everybody, to Geek Vice, episode number 91. That is right, 9-1. Two geeks struggling to be heard across the vastness of the World Wide Web. We dare to go where millions of men had gone before. I mean, really, someone had to show us how to do this. Thanks for joining us in our geekdom as we discuss all things geek and sometimes relevant topics. Tonight's topic's going to fall in the TV and movie categories. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about the Heroes prequel. We're going to talk a little bit about the Ant-Man movie. We're going to end the big debate for tonight, which I put on Facebook. So if you're listening to this live and you want to go comment on the Facebook question on Geek Vice's page, just search for Geek Vice on Facebook. And I asked the question, Netflix or Amazon Instant Video? What is your first choice when it comes to streaming videos? You're going to hear our take on that coming up shortly. Good evening, Kip. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. It's Monday and it's already been a long week.
Yeah, so that's not good. That's not good. Did you do anything fun over the weekend? Did you go see any new movies?
We went and saw Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, you did see it.
Apparently it was us and three other people who went and saw that movie because it tanked.
Yeah, it didn't do so good.
Which is unfortunate because it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I think the reason it didn't do so well is it's not your typical action sequence after action sequence kind of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of story to it. It's kind of a smart movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it had the pacing of the 60s TV show. I can't say that for sure, but that's kind of what it reminded me of as watching it was, they hid the violence. There was things that happened in these weird camera angles. So so it like safer TV kind of thing. So it made me think that they just took the 60s TV show and just said, we're going to make it like that.
I gotcha.
But it was really well done. What surprised me the most was the Russian was played by Armie Hammer, the guy who played the Lone Ranger in that crappy Johnny Depp movie.
Yeah.
He was really freaking good.
Well, that's
Caught me off guard how good he was. And I love pleasant surprises like that. I thought, wow, this is great. I hope it does well enough at the box office that they'll do another one. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but I enjoyed it. It was really smart. It was not as funny as the previews made it seem like it was going to be.
Right.
But I think it was worth the price of admission. I wish more people would go see it so it has a fighting chance.
Sure.
But Man from U.N.C.L.E. was better than Fantastic Four by a by a large stretch. And probably, I'd say maybe as good as Ant-Man.
Really?
Perhaps. Yeah.
Well, I mean, opening
just a
weekend.
Different kind of movie.
Sure. What is this? Opening weekend, it finished third.
13.5 million.
Yeah, which is that's pretty good. Ant-Man's opening weekend was a little bit bigger.
Yeah, just slightly.
Just a little bit, but I mean, for a movie that really, honestly, I don't know how many people knew this was even coming out.
And I think that's a huge problem as well. And another problem is it takes place during the Cold War era, and it's Russian spies and American spies working together. but still enemies. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of the moving-going audience doesn't remember the Cold War.
yeah, yeah.
They're the 18 to 29-year-old demographic that is so coveted probably don't remember the Cold War. In
Yeah.
fact, it ended before any of those people were born.
Well, and
So
they probably don't even remember when the USSR was actually the USSR.
yeah,
I mean, that's yeah. I agree. I think it kind of missed the mark with. Well, you are gonna have that problem. I mean, there's. It's sad to say it because I thought the movie looked really good, and I still want to see it. Um, but I think you're right. I mean, they have to. If you're going to try to tell a period piece like that, you have to do it very carefully in order not to alienate your fans. And really, you need to market it a little bit more. I mean, you need to make this thing. It needs to be in everyone's mind if you're going to try to make it really good. If you're going to get people in the door, because people aren't going to be able to look at The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with the title and know what they're going to see. I mean, I even had to ask you when I saw this in like the movie previews, movies that were coming up. I'm like, this trailer looks really good, but I don't know if this is a remake or something brand new. I've never heard of this before.
yeah, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat as you.
Yeah,
Like I said, it was a TV show, I think, in the late '60s, and
yeah,
so if you were, say, a teenager in the late '60s, you're in your 60s now, I guess, maybe.
yeah,
So yeah, so the target demographic
yeah. It wasn't the
is
right. It wasn't going to be the one that you're going to break box office records with, especially not going up against a movie like Straight Outta Compton.
right, which I knew was going to do gangbusters.
Yeah.
But The Man from Uncle deserves more than what it got. I think it was a good movie, well done, and I think people expect from an action film.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it was bad. It doesn't mean it was boring. It just means it was differently
Did
paced, and I was good with it.
yeah. Yeah. Did Fantastic Four come out last week, or was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
When did you go see it?
it came out. Well, not this last weekend, but the weekend before. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
that was the weekend it came out.
so so the weekend that we just had was its second weekend.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, it dropped 68% uh, in box office numbers from week 1 to week 2, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. crushed it. So that's at least good. I'm trying to find the bright sides here.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do as well. I mean, the guy who's the new Superman in
Yeah,
the
Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill. I think is how you say his last name. He's the American agent.
Yeah,
Army Hammer's the Russian agent. Um, it was just I can't say it any other way. It was just well done.
yeah.
It's worth a see. If you hate it, you can blame me. That's fine. But I think it was well done and worth going to the theater for.
Well, that is good. We'll have to. That's it, everybody. Go out and see this movie. That's what you need to do. Go see this movie, The Man from
Yes,
U.N.C.L.E.
told you to go see.
So, yeah, you know, we don't go see a whole lot of movies, but I did introduce my kids to, or at least one of my kids, and my wife to a new board game. And we did this last night, and I've kind of been hesitant to do it because I knew I wanted to make sure my oldest boy, who's 6, could read all the cards himself. I didn't want him to feel like he couldn't, like he was frustrated because he didn't know what he was supposed to do or what the cards meant and how they played. So he's done excellent with his reading over the summer, and so I broke out Prolific Games, Flapjacks, and Sasquatches.
Huzzah!
And, my wife was hesitant and actually didn't really want to play that game. She wanted to play something like Go Fish or, something like that. And, but she had gone upstairs to change her clothes or something like that. And so I talked to Reese and I'm like, hey, would you like to play one of my games that I have downstairs that I've got? And he's like, sure, which one? I'm like, well, it's one of the ones up on my shelf that's in the red box. It's about chopping down trees and saving yourself from Sasquatch. He's like, what? Yeah, let's play that one. Perfect. So Mom was away. I convinced him, which didn't take much, to break out this game. So he came up and got the game, and we got it out. And my shuffling was probably a little lax because, we've always used your cards when we've played and not mine. So those cards are still really, really stiff. So they're kind of hard to shuffle. But, it took, I was curious to see how long it took to explain everything after getting all the cards shuffled up and everybody down there ready to play. We just played it on the living room floor. It took probably about 10 minutes to explain the rules. And I didn't go through all the rules in there because the cards really tell you the rules as you go.
Right.
I basically walked them through a sample hand. And so said, okay, here's your 3 cards. On your turn, you will draw another card. You will draw a tree card. You will play one of the cards in your hand. Hopefully it's an axe. Sometimes it'll be good things that help you. Sometimes it'll be bad things that hurt other people. And then you will roll the dice, collect your chops for your trees, try to chop down your tree. And we played, normally you play to 21. First person to get 21 points wins, and each tree is worth a different value, for those of you that don't know. So we only played till 10 points because we only had about 10 minutes before the kids really needed to get to bed. And so we played first one to get to 10. Reese got the 10 in only cutting down 2 trees. He also took my chainsaw from me and beat me in the speed climbing challenge. So we got an extra 2 bonus points there. This kid, man, I tell you what, I need to have him roll my dice when I play role-playing games because he was rolling 5s and 6s like crazy. He had started off the game with the titanium axe, so he couldn't even break it. I'm like, there's just no hope. I played the entire game with no axe, so I just tried to make people lose their turn and give people blisters. But it was kind of funny because every time a card came up, Reese would start laughing at the picture. He would start figuring out okay, Dad, what does this card do? And so I'd help him read the card at the bottom. And he's like, oh, so I can make Mom lose a turn? Like, yeah, or you might lose a turn because you each have to roll a dice. And he's like, I'm going to make Mom lose a turn. So he did it twice. The first time he got into a roll off with her and he lost. So he lost his turn. But then the next time around, he got another one of those cards and Mom only needed 1 more chop to finish her tree and win. He needed 2 chops. But he had blisters and axe slip, so he only had 1 dice to roll, so he couldn't get 2 chops on that turn. So he needed to make her lose a turn, and he did it. He got her to lose her next turn, which meant he got to roll, and he ended up winning because of that. And so it all just kind of played into, he thought that all out himself, strategized it perfectly, and it worked out. He ended up winning, and the joy on his face of playing that game and just laughing at the cards and everything like that was great. He wanted to play it again this morning before school. However, nobody has time to play board games in the morning before work or school, at least not in this house. So,
which is unfortunate. It should be that way everywhere.
Exactly. You should start your day off with a game of flapjacks and Sasquatches while you're eating chocolate chip pancakes.
There you go.
But so we told him that we couldn't play this morning. He had soccer practice tonight, so he wasn't gonna be able to play tonight. But I think tomorrow night on the schedule, we will be playing again flapjacks and Sasquatches, and we'll. He's gonna have a good time with it. It's a lot of fun. This game, Kip and I have a blast playing this game. The guys from Prolific Games really nailed it with this one. And I think I just broke out the first box. I don't think they're quite ready for the expansion yet, but I am going to break out the custom dice that came with the expansion.
Oh, so yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, that'll help, and then they don't have to keep track of, well, is that a miss or a break? Well, it says it right there, so we won't be able to screw that up.
Exactly, and I'm glad he enjoyed it so much. It's a game that every time I have any kind of a game gathering at all, it always makes it to the table. And it's usually the first game that goes to the table. And then we end up playing like 3 or 4 games, and we're finally like, well, should we play another game or just keep going with it? You got to force yourself to play another game. So
yeah. Well, and it was kind of funny and I didn't even realize this, but after we played that game and got the kids to bed, I was perusing the Facey space and saw that our good friends Doug and Eddie on the Doug and Eddie show posted a show all about flapjacks and Sasquatches as well. So,
yeah, Eddie was at my house. He came to visit, and he recorded us playing a couple of games of that. So if you want to hear what it's like to have adults drinking alcohol and playing this game, go to DougandEddie.com and check out their latest episode, which is Eddie playing flapjacks and Sasquatches with me and a couple of my friends, and it's as usual, we get off topic because shiny objects and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But the game is so much fun and easy to teach and easy to pick up that you could practically be anywhere, pull that game out, and you could have complete strangers playing that game and having a blast.
Yeah, it is. It's so simple to learn. It's really simple to teach. You really don't even need the rules there. The rule pamphlet that they give you. Really, the only important parts of that are how many cards you deal out and the order of play. Other than that, you really don't need them because all the directions are really on the cards. The cards tell you exactly what each card does, so it doesn't really require a whole lot. So it's definitely a good game, and as I can attest, it's even good for Reese's 6, so it worked really well for him. I know the box says ages 2 to 8. Oh no, it's 2 to 8 players, ages 8 and up. Sorry, I should read first. I mean, I have it right here in front of me, and I still can't read. But ages 8 and up, 8 is even being a little generous, I guess, or a little liberal. I don't know the other way. Or conservative. Conservative's the one. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You can go with younger kids.
Talk politics.
Yeah. If they can read the cards, if a player can read the cards, they can play this game. So, my 6-year-old can play this game. That's a good sign. I like that. It's always good to have a game that little kids, younger kids can play.
That's right. And, it's so easy that I even get the rules right most of the time. So,
Yeah.
as anybody who's played a game with me will attest, that never happens. So, that's how easy this game is.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So the other thing, we'll get into some. Well, should we start? Let's start with the Heroes prequel. So this was an interesting thing. I ran across this on one of my favorite websites to go to, majorspoilers.com. Shameless plug. And they had posted all the videos, and it was just basically like a web series, short little web series. Nothing too crazy, just kind of like 10 to 12 minute videos, telling you about basically telling you a little story. It was a total of 6 episodes, and like I said, 10 to 12 minutes, and they take you through kind of it's called Dark Matters, but it takes you through a character who I don't know if she's going to be in the new TV series or not, but kind of walks you through this time in between the 2 television series. So heroes, or what did they call them? I don't think they called them metahumans. What did they call them? I don't remember. Whatever they called them, the powered people, are basically being kind of shunned. If you have those powers, you really should.
Evos?
Evos, that's right, Evos. They, the evolved people, they want you to kind of, like, those people kind of hide. They don't want to be, out there using their powers, I guess. And so then in a video, kind of like what the main character in the original series did, they started recording themselves doing powers and doing their ability and putting them up on the internet. And so this one goes through a girl who has the ability to manipulate shadows. And she finds out that she can't. It's not even that she can manipulate shadows. It's that she can basically control the light. So she can actually, suck all the light out of the room and make it completely dark, which she does in one of the classes in her college, which was
Wow, that's pretty close on my ex-wife. But instead of light, she just sucked all the life out of her room.
So maybe she was an Evo. Maybe she was the first. So this story basically centers around Phoebe and Quentin, who are brother and sister. Mom is passed away, I think. But Phoebe is trying to go to college. Quentin is basically just a guy who's obsessed with Evos, and becomes even more obsessed when Phoebe shows him what she can do. And so then Phoebe is in it, kind of centered in it for the first half of the series, and then in the second half she goes off, basically gets kidnapped. Well, we think she gets kidnapped. She goes to work at a place that is willing to hire Evos because she's gone out and registered with the government. Nice little tie to Marvel's upcoming movies. I liked that. Even though this Heroes has nothing to do with Marvel, they have come out and said they have nothing to do with Marvel. They did not write these characters based off of any Marvel characters. That was a big argument from the first series. But she ends up disappearing. Quentin tries to go find her, and he ends up hooking up with some other Evos to try to hack into an area and to find the man with the horn-rimmed glasses from the first series, the main guy who was hunting down Evos. And it was really good. I actually thought this was good, and I hope that this kind of storytelling continues. I hope that this kind of battle between people who don't want Evos around and people who do want Evos around, or just the Evos themselves, I hope that's there. I kind of liked that from the very first season. And so I'm kind of curious to see what they're doing. I think NBC is going to try to make this. I think this is their redemption. I think they're trying to redeem themselves with the way Heroes failed in the last series. And if these 6 little webisodes or anything are any basis for what they're doing, I think they've got a good chance of turning this into something that's worth watching.
I hope so, because I only watched the first season of Heroes, and I struggled getting through that season. So I'm hoping this is better than that. Maybe I'll actually give it a chance at that point. But
yeah,
and again, if it's bad, that saves me, because there's like a million other TV shows that I want to watch right now. So.
Yeah, and that definitely is a problem. And well, there's even more now. I keep seeing all these new shows coming up that are exclusives to different streaming services, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to watch that. But you guys can go check out the Heroes Reborn Dark Matters series on NBC.com. Just go search for Heroes Reborn Dark Matters, or just search for Heroes Reborn. And all the episodes are actually available on their website for free. So you can go check those out.
Free is my favorite price.
Yeah. So there you go. And NBC's actually, I think they're starting to build up the hype for this. I don't remember the date at which this is going to be coming out. I know it's this fall. At least I think it's this fall. It might be after the first of the year, but I'm starting to see little promos going up on NBC on their other different shows. They had one tonight on American Ninja Warrior. That they had a little ticker going across the bottom about finding out about a upcoming hero or upcoming character from the Heroes Reborn TV series. And of course I missed it because I came down here. I think. I don't know. Or I didn't, or I slept through it. I'm not sure which. It happens with commercials.
Either way, you missed it.
So, all right. What should we do first, Mr. Kip? Should we do an Ant-Man talk, or should we go with our big debate?
Let's go ahead and get a little Ant-Man out of the way, since it's been in the theater for a month now. So
Yep. 4 weeks are official. They have gotten 4 weeks. This is the I guess, should we or could we classify this as Marvel's flop? That's my question for you. What do you think?
Well, you are Mr. Box Office. What has it done up to this point?
Well, at this point, 4 weeks in, it has grossed to date, which I believe these are all domestic, $152 million. To me, sounds like a big success, right?
Sounds good to me.
Out of and I'm only comparing this to the other Phase 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe, which includes Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy. The next closest one in the 4 week spread is Thor: The Dark World at $189 million.
And Thor: The Dark World was just an okay movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ant-Man was way better than Thor: The Dark World.
I do think Ant-Man was a lot better than Thor: The Dark World. I would not call it a flop. Anything that can make that kind of money to me is not a flop. Maybe in the Marvel universe, they're used to just putting out a movie and just making, like $500 million in a blink of an eye. Maybe they consider it a flop, but you know what? I think it did. I think they turned a profit. It was a good movie. I'm not ready to call it a flop.
And I agree with you there. Like, I don't think it should be. The movie made more money than it cost to make. I mean, that's done. It did that, which is good. These are just domestic numbers, so worldwide is going to be even more. They've made their money back, and this was, to me, I think this was kind of like this was a test. This was a test movie for them. This was, what if we tell this kind of movie? Similar to what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. They took a risk with Guardians of the Galaxy, and it just hit it on all cylinders and just was a box office phenomenon. It was great. But and to my thinking, Ant-Man was kind of the same gamble that they took with Guardians of the Galaxy, and one paid off really good and one paid off. I'm not going to say it didn't pay off, because they made money. They connected different pieces of all the different movies in this movie. They made some connections that, Ant-Man has been around a lot longer than anyone really realized in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, since Hank Pym was, the opening scene to the movie has Hank Pym in the 80s arguing with S.H.I.E.L.D., which we have not seen ever before. So, I think this movie was successful in many different ways. It's not the box office breaker that some of the other movies have been. You got to give Thor: The Dark World, that was a sequel. So you were going to have some people, you're going to have an extra group of people go to see that who just want to see the sequel. Who really liked the first Thor movie, they're going to go in to see Thor: The Dark World, where Ant-Man didn't have anything to build off of. This was a first movie type thing.
Right. And they tried to, with Paul Rudd and everything, I think they tried to be a little more comedic with this one than they had in other Marvel movies, which was totally fine. It worked. I mean, the scene with Thomas the Train, holy cow, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, and the giant ant running out of the house.
Oh, yeah, the giant ant was outstanding. With all that said, it's not – I don't think it's your typical Marvel movie, but it's still in line with. Yeah, It didn't do the great numbers. I think mainly because, and it's nothing against the man, but I think it really was because Paul Rudd is the main guy. I don't think people saw him as an action star, but I think he played the part really well. I don't know. It's just calling it a flop, just for me, doesn't work.
Yeah.
It may be their lowest grossing, but still, they could be Man from U.N.C.L.E. numbers, and they're not.
Right. And actually, in the fourth week, it just barely made less than Man from U.N.C.L.E. this weekend. So it made almost $12.5 million in the fourth week. So, that's to me. And the the one promising thing that makes this thing stand out to me, in my opinion, is if you look at the numbers from the box office, it went down. It gradually went down, but it went down less than the other movies. It was, Captain America 2 was the least. Like, that Captain America 2 was such a great movie that the numbers there barely went down at all in relative terms. So, and the next closest one was Ant-Man. So Ant-Man is still, right now in the fourth week, has almost made as much money in the fourth week as Thor: The Dark World did in its fourth week. So that's at least a good sign. It's got some staying power. It can stick around a little bit. Hopefully more people go out and go see this movie, help it out a little bit. And I don't know. What else are you going to go see?
Exactly. Well, you could go see Man from U.N.C.L.E., which needs some love. But, I think Ant-Man may make a little more headway. Excuse me, when the DVD comes out, like you said, people are not shying away. I mean, it didn't drop off as dramatically as the other ones, but I think it's one of those movies that may really excel at DVD sales and Blu-ray sales. Right. So they're not done. It's not flopping by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's done good. Kip and I both enjoyed that movie, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I guess the next Marvel movie is going to be Captain America 3, right? Yeah. Bueller.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that one does in. That's not until 2016, is it? May of 2016?
Yeah.
You're gonna make me Google search this?
It is May.
Captain America 3 release date. May 6th, 2016.
Which sounds like a long way away until you realize it's mid-August of 15. So
yeah,
it'll be here before we know it.
That it will. So, all right, guys, here we go. The big topic. The big debate. What is your first choice, Netflix or Amazon Instant Video, when you're going to be streaming? Which one of these is better?
Well, my go-to is always Netflix. It seems like Amazon hardly ever has what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The one thing Amazon does that I like is they have all those. They release those pilots every year, and then you get to watch them and then vote on which ones you think should be a new series for them.
Right.
And I get a kick out of that, and then I kind of forget about it.
Right.
Netflix, like I said, Netflix is my go-to. I mean, Daredevil was on there. I know, and House of Cards, I watch that every year. You wait all year for it to come out, and then in one weekend you shoot your entire wad on that one, and then you have to wait another year. But it's that good, and Netflix continually puts out good stuff like that.
Right.
And they always have a ton of documentaries as well, and I really love documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's like nothing's on TV, blah blah blah, I either go to Netflix. I go to Netflix first. If I don't find anything, then I go to Hulu. And if I don't find anything, then I finally go to Amazon. So that's how far down the list is for me.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Netflix is definitely my go-to, but mainly for simplicity and ease of use. It's connected right to my Netflix account. Is connected to my Xbox 360. It's connected to my Blu-ray players, so it's already there. I haven't tried to see if I don't know. Is Amazon Instant Video on Xbox 360? Can I?
Yeah.
So maybe I need to do that and see what's on there. Um, Ishabel, yeah. I too will not be paying to get Hulu because I'm not paying to watch commercials either. So no, that to me is a little. That's just the wrong way of doing business. I understand that they're trying to make money, and they need a way to make money, but putting in commercials in something that I'm already paying for, that's like just having my cable back, and I don't want cable anymore. So, and some of the comments, I put this question out on Facebook, and a couple of our loyal followers commented back. So Trevor Tast, our good friend Trevor, our token ginger,
Soulless ginger.
He said Netflix, unless we're renting a new release, which isn't available. The question should be Amazon rental or Redbox. What do you think there, Kip? Amazon rental or Redbox? Do you even know what those are?
Well, since I do neither, I'm going to say neither.
Yeah. Again.
Yes, I know what those are.
Again, I'm not going to pay for it. I'll just wait till it's free. So if the choice is Amazon rental, Redbox, or watch something free, I'm going to go with something free, or something I've already paid for, like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Our other favorite person who we've already mentioned, Ishabel, lovely Ishabel, she said Netflix because it's cheaper. However, Amazon seems to have a bigger selection, especially with older titles, which I agree with there. They seem to have a lot more. I almost seem like Netflix is my go-to when I want to watch a movie or a kids' TV show. So, like, if I want the kids to watch something, then I go to the kids section of Netflix and let them pick something out from there because it's easy for them to navigate through. Or I'm going to Netflix to watch a movie that they have. The rare exception would be like the Daredevil TV series, or a Netflix series. But Amazon Instant Video seems to have a lot more of the like older television shows on there. Because I think I even saw something like Alf was on there. I could be wrong. But Alf is awesome.
Who knows?
Don't judge my Alf.
If they're talking larger catalog, considering the stuff you also have to pay for, then I would agree with that. But if we're just talking the Amazon, it seems like it's not all that big.
Ish says they have all the Stargates. Have you watched Stargate, the TV series?
You loaned me your DVDs, if you remember.
Did I get them back?
I sold them on the black market. No, I gave them to you.
Yeah, they're up there. I see the gigantic box.
Yeah, it was one of those where you and I talked about it at work one day, and you're like, well, I'll just bring in the discs for you. And then you brought in like this gigantuan set. And I was like, holy shit. But I watched it and I liked it.
Did I give you this box? Big green? No. I probably gave you.
You gave me the one that seemed pirated.
This box?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, these ones right here are I have the first 2 seasons on that I actually I paid for, and in the United States, and now everything's falling and the world is crumbling as I throw stuff around. But this box, I asked for the entire series on DVD one year for Christmas, and my mother-in-law went online and found this lovely thing. And yes, that is a foreign language at the top. I am pretty sure this came from one of the Asian countries. And here's the best part is all of them come in these sleeved discs. I'm pretty sure she bought pirated stuff, but you know what? I am not going to tell her that because I'm sure she would feel bad. And there's only a couple of discs that have some glitches in them, and they happen within the first 2 seasons, which I already have. So it worked out well for me. All the older seasons worked. The only season I am missing is season 10, which was the very last season of that series. And that is a great series. My opinion. There you go.
And that's our sidebar for the night.
Yeah, I don't know how why did we even start talking about that? I don't know.
I blame Ish. I do.
It is. It's all her fault. I brought up the question to Ish or to anybody really on Facebook, as well as a comment on that of Ish's thing about Netflix being cheaper. Is Netflix really cheaper, or is it just simpler to understand?
What is it? $8 a month?
$8 a month, or Amazon's $99 a year.
Yeah, but if you're one of those people that go ahead and rent some of the episodes, I imagine Amazon can get up there in price.
Yeah, but on the same side of that, you also get the free shipping or free 2-day shipping and some of their other perks.
Oh yeah, I'm not against it. I'm an Amazon Prime member myself,
and I am too. But that's what I kind of look at it. I'm like, you know what? I don't know that Netflix really is cheaper anymore. With the fact that I think what it is that they're simpler to understand. It's easier to understand just paying $8 per month or $7.99 a month.
And their menu system is so much nicer.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. They do have a user interface that I think works really well. So,
and if you're like me, you fast forward and rewind a lot. Netflix kicks butt because as you're rewinding or fast forwarding, the pictures go with it. And Amazon and Hulu and all that does not do that.
Yeah, especially if I agree with that.
It's all part of the instant gratification that we all crave these days.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be a sucker and wait. I have to do it now. And the menu system, I don't know. It's Amazon's kind of broken up into categories: movies, TVs, all this other stuff. It feels like you're always going back and forth in the menu system.
Yeah.
And on Netflix, it always feels like I'm just scrolling down.
Right. That it's all kind of combined into one, and you don't. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think either one of them's wrong, and honestly, I have both of them, and I use both of them, but I do use Netflix more, and I have a feeling that I will. I don't know. I'll be even curious. I'll be more curiouser, because that's a word.
Curiouser.
I will be curiouser to see what happens when I do finally get rid of satellite, which I am. The timetable for that has kind of gotten pushed back a little bit due to the person helping me get all the equipment and get everything set up. So, but it's still in the process of happening. It hasn't gone away because I need to start saving some money. And that is
as soon as that guy gets out of prison, he'll be able to help set you up your stuff.
He is not in prison. He is just very busy with his real world job, which happens to be at my wife's company, or the company my wife works for, and yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that does it for tonight. What else do you have for us tonight, Kip? Any last words?
I have no words for today. Ishmael does make a good point. We'll go back to the Netflix thing just one more time, and that is, if you're just looking at streaming video, then yeah, Netflix seems to be the winner for us anyway. But a one-stop shop, Amazon is by far my go-to place.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of employees from Amazon have been able to put their kids through college because of me. So,
yeah.
So no. In that arena, Amazon is the hands-down winner.
No arguments there.
Just looking at my podcast setup, there's a lot of stuff just right here on my desk. Even my little microphone.
So, all right, everybody, we'll call it a night. I want to put a few shameless plugs out there for a couple people. One is stay tuned for in the coming weeks. Watch our blog, which you can find at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on Facebook and Google+. Follow us on Twitter. He's at Kip Killigan. I'm at GeekVice. But follow those places because we have some interesting news coming up. We have a interesting little thing that we're working on with the lovely Ish. That's all we're going to tell you. And you're going to have to wait a couple more weeks before this happens. So keep watching that stuff because it's going to happen sooner than later. Some secret stuff for Ish because she's awesome. Also, next week we're going to try a new little format. We're going to try something, and I want to hear back on what you guys think after we do this. I'm going to do a character history. So our big main topic not tomorrow, because I got to write it tomorrow. Our big topic is going to be the history
instead of working.
Yeah, instead of working, will be the history of Deadpool. And this came to me from the idea that when the Deadpool trailer came out, I was talking to a few people at work, and one of the guys who reads comic books regularly or didn't actually know about Deadpool and where he came from and what his powers were and what was special about him. So, I thought, you know what? This is a character that has extremely big following in the comic book world, but outside of that, there might not be very many people who actually know about him. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. We've already seen the trailer for this movie, so next week's episode is going to be all about Deadpool. So tune in next week and let us know what you think after I do that. And if the responses are really good, I might do some more of these.
I'm looking forward to it because as a non-comic book reader, it's nice to have some background before I go in to see some of these movies.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped about that.
So there you go, everybody. Again, follow us on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on Facebook and Google+, or really just Facebook. Follow us on Facebook at GeekVice. You can go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe to our page. That kind of helps out a little bit. Comment on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, all those places you can download our podcast. You can listen to our podcast at. And follow us on Twitter. Again, at Kip Killigan. I'm at GeekVice. Thanks, everyone, for listening to our ramblings. And if you want to comment on anything or give us a topic for a future episode, email us at geekvice.gmail.com. And we will see you next week.
Nighty night.